Hello, to top of the morning to you. I am Lawrence O, and this is...
I'm Gabby. Hi.
She's Gabby. And have you ever been in a situation where somebody insults you and you just don't know what to say back to them?
Hey, you're fat.
Oh yeah? Well, you smell like poop.
And well, we've composed a list of 10 historical figures who knew what to say when they were insulted. I picked 5 and she picked 5. And now this list, it has some rules to it first.
So the rules are, it's basically one quote per historical figure, because otherwise we can just make a top 10 list of Winston Churchill by himself, because he's super awesome.
And there has to be a back and forth. Like, you can't just go up to somebody and say, hey, your mom's dead. You just can't do that, okay? There needs to be some provocation on the part of the person.
Number 10 is by Julius Henry Groucho Marx, who was a famous comedian back in the day. So he was persuaded to go into a seance. Like some people, he doesn't really believe in the paranormal, but he decided to participate in it anyway and was very respectful. So after a while, the person who summoned the departed soul was saying, "My medium is growing tired. There's only time to ask one more question." He replied, "Ask it what the capital of North Dakota is."
That's what he chooses to ask a dead soul.
I mean, because he doesn't believe in paranormal. Like I said, if you want to go to a psychic, you wear a name tag, but someone else's name tag, and be like, "What's my name?" And if they get it wrong, then you're not a psychic.
Number 9 is Alcibiades, and I'll just say the back and forth here. So Pericles was all like, when I was your age, I talked just how you are talking right now. And then, what do you think Alcibiades said in response to this?
He said, I talk just how you talk now.
That was what the Pericles said to him, and then what did Alcibiades say in response? What would you say in response?
Then you must have been pretty smart, huh?
Oh, actually that's pretty close. Alcibiades said, if only I had known you when you were at your best.
This is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I still think my response is better. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's really pretty cool, I think, now. You cut there.
So, number 8 is by Oscar Wilde. So, Oscar Wilde came over to New York, and he was asked by an immigration officer, "Hey, do you have anything to claim?" And what do you think that he said?
Oh, I know this one.
Or what would you say?
Oh. Well, let's see. What would I say? I would probably just say, like, no, but I know what he said there, because I'm a big Oscar Wilde fan, in general. Well, you could say it, though.
So he says, "I have nothing to declare but my genius."
Yeah.
I would have said, "I have nothing to declare but your mama." What?
Well, all of Oscar Wilde's quotes are great, except for the ones that aren't.
That makes no sense.
That's what Oscar Wilde was based on. He used to say pretty cool things like, I'm not young enough to know everything. He said things that contradict each other in nature. That's what made him so great. Number 7 is between Henry Clay and Thomas Reed. Now, Henry Clay, the background to this was that he was against abolition, which was basically getting rid of slavery. He said the solution should be time or whatever, should do whatever. And he gave a speech about it, and pretty much people hated him for it. And then he said, I trust the sentiments and opinions are correct. I would rather be right than be president. And then, you know, some guy heard of this quote, and what do you think he said in response to this? I would rather be right than be president.
I would rather be right than be president.
Yeah, what would you say in response to that?
Then our presidents are never right. I don't know.
Well, Thomas Reed said, the gentleman need not trouble himself, for he'll be neither.
Oh, my goodness.
Dang, see, that's some hardcore politicking right there.
Politicians.
I want to be one, that's what's so funny.
Okay, number 6. Judge Rockwood Hoar versus Mr. Wendell Philips.
Wait, what was that first name again?
Judge Rockwood Hoar. Not spelled. Shut up. It's not spelled like that, okay? So anyway, so Wendell Philips had died, and the judge was asked, "Are you gonna attend his funeral?" And what would you say? Like, are you gonna attend this person's funeral?
I think I've heard of this one too. I think it was, he said when I attend this person's funeral, I would probably say yes just to make sure he's dead. But in response, I think he said like no, but I'll send a letter saying I approve of it. Is that right?
He says, no, I'm not invited, but I approve of it nevertheless.
Yeah, see, so I was pretty close to that, but I think mine was better.
But you said you'd send a letter.
No, I said I'd make sure he was dead. Now, this one, it's another historical thing. So this was again during the Civil War. And Henry Ward Beecher said, we'll defeat the Confederates within 60 days. And so he went on a trip to England, and he didn't defeat the Confederates within 60 days. And so an Englishman went up to him and said, dude, why haven't you beat the Confederates in 60 days like you said you would have? And in response to this, Henry Ward Beecher said, because we found we had Americans to fight this time, not Englishmen.
Wow.
Yeah, see?
Burn, what?
Man, I should have asked you what you would have said there.
I probably would have come up with something lame. I don't really have very good comebacks.
4.
Number 4 is by John Montague to John Wilkes. So he says, you will either die on the gallows or of some loathsome disease. John Wilkes replied, that depends on whether I embrace your principles or your mistress. Which is a huge, huge burn. What? That's terrible.
Unfortunately, his mistress was a pig. Yeah, you're sick. Now this one, Winston Churchill, they've had plenty of them. I mean, you might as well just put Churchill at number 3.
He had so many good ones.
Yeah,
terrible.
so like you could just say like one of them right now that you didn't choose.
I forgot.
Like he had a bunch of famous ones like
oh, where she was like, if you were my husband, I would put poison in like his tea or something. He's like, if I was your husband, I would drink it.
Yeah, things of that nature too. And you know, I'll just say the one I chose right now is that. So what happened? It was him versus George Bernard Shaw. And what happened is that he gave him tickets to his show or whatever, and he said he gave him 2. He said, here's a ticket to my show. Bring a friend if you have one. And then Churchill said, impossible. I can't make it to the first one. I'll come to the second night if there is one.
This guy is like so awesome when it comes to quotes.
Yeah, he's just a really good one. But alas, I couldn't choose him as my number 1.
Oh, that's terrible.
No. I had too many. There were too many other good ones.
So number 2 is Philip of Macedonia versus Sparta. I really like this one because it makes the Spartans look so awesome.
Alright, so just tell me, then I'll see what my response is.
So the Prince Philip was invading present-day Greece, and some of the city-states had already submitted to him, but not the Spartans. So he sent them a message saying, you're advised to submit without further delay. For if I bring my army into your land, I will destroy your farms, slay your people, and raise your city. What would you say?
Oh man, that's a really good one. I'd probably say something like, let them try. Just probably something simple and short.
I mean,
like
it's
that.
close. I mean, but the Spartans are so awesome, they put it into one word and they just said if. I really like that one. Yeah, it reminded me of God of War for some reason, which is weird, but.
So, for number 1, it was Truman Capote. And the background to the situation was, so, you know, he's a big author or whatever, and he was hanging out in a bar with his friends when a drunk fan of his came in, a woman, handed him a napkin and said, here, sign this. And then she was with her husband, who was even more drunk. And so what happened is that he came over there, and then he took out his genitalia, and he said, here, sign this. And so what would you say in response to that?
It's too small to sign.
No. He said something similar to that. He said, I don't know if I can sign it, but I'll initial it.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's close to what I said.
Yeah, but, you know,
You said it better, though.
Yeah, there's a few people who didn't make this list, like Abraham Lincoln. He had a few good ones, but they were too not in your face. They were too nice. Like, one person called him two-faced, and then he said, I'll let the audience decide. If I had another face, you'd think I would wear this one. So he was calling himself ugly, which was a great comeback, but he's insulting himself.
That's just how Abraham Lincoln rolled.
And then another one was with General Grant. They wanted to get rid of him because he was such a drunk. And then what happened is that Abraham Lincoln said, "Give me the brand of the whiskey this man is drinking." And they said, "Why?" He said, "I have to give this whiskey to every general in the Union," which is basically saying that Grant was doing such a great job as a drunk that let's make everybody else drunk. Maybe they'll do half as job as he's doing. Any other ones you missed?
I don't remember exactly who it was, but someone had said something to some woman, and it's terrible that I can't remember the name right now. But they're like, a guy went up to her and he was like, "You look like a man," and she was like, "Oh yeah, you almost look like one too."
Yeah, I guess here's one that I truly like. It's not a regret putting on this because it wasn't much of an insult. It was more like, oh ho ho ho. So there was this guy who was really drunk, and he went into the women's bathroom, and he started urinating in there, and then a woman came in, and she's like, "Oh, this is for ladies." And then the guy responded while holding his genitalia, "Well, this is for ladies too." Now, that one I couldn't put on the list just because I didn't feel it was insulting enough. I felt it was more like braggadocious than anything. Yeah.
That is pretty cool though, even though it's just like, wow.
Yeah, so there are some great ones, and if you guys want to comment below your great comebacks or any historical ones we missed, then you can do that in the comment section below, because
or I guess if they just want to help with comebacks in certain situations, what are some good comebacks? Because obviously I can't even think of any good ones that I could say.
Yeah, and I just word things very funnily and oddly and inventing words, so yeah. Well, this is Lorenzo
and Gabby
saying toodaloo.
Bye.